Hi everybody, this is Vita and today I'm back to read a story called Joseph and the Forgetful Servant by Fiona Veitch Smith. Joseph was one of 12 brothers who used to live with their dad and stepmothers on a farm in the land of Canaan. On the farm were sheep, goats and lots of cows. There were fat cows, skinny cows and somewhere in between cows, but Joseph loved them all. Now Joseph no longer lived in Canaan. His mean brothers sold him to some slave traders who had taken him to Egypt. There a nasty lady lied and said he had done naughty things. Poor Joseph was in prison. He was sad and missed his family very much. The only things that cheered him up were imaginary cows that only he could see. Then, one day, 2 new prisoners arrived. One of them was a baker and the other a butler. Both had worked for the king of Egypt, who they called the Pharaoh. Joseph was very happy that he finally had some people to talk to. When he heard their story, however, he was very sad. They too had got into trouble for something they hadn't done, and now here they were, in prison. The baker baked bread for the Pharaoh, and the butler poured him goblets of wine. But the Pharaoh was worried that someone was trying to kill him. Pharaoh saw enemies behind every tree and pyramid. He even thought he saw them in the palace behind statues and pillars. Pharaoh didn't trust anyone. He particularly didn't trust his servants, the baker and butler, just in case they might poison him. "Whoa," said Joseph. "Did you really try to poison him?" The baker shook his head and looked at Joseph sadly. "No, but he thinks we might have tried. So he's put us in the prison until he can decide if we're guilty or not." Joseph, who knew what it felt like when someone told lies about you, gave his new friends a big hug to make them feel better. That night, both the baker and the butler had crazy dreams. The butler dreamt that he saw 3 grape wines. He took some grapes from them all and squeezed them into the Pharaoh's cup. Pharaoh then took the cup and drank the juice. The baker dreamt that he had 3 baskets of bread on his head. The bread was meant for Pharaoh, but then a flock of birds came along and gobbled it all up. "What does it all mean?" "I can't tell you that," said Joseph, "but God can. I'll ask him and see what he says." Joseph prayed that God would tell him the meaning of the dreams. God did. To the butler, Joseph explained, "Your dream means that in 3 days' time, Pharaoh will release you from prison and give you your old job back." The butler was delighted to hear about his freedom. Then Joseph added, "Listen, when you get out of here, please can you remember to tell Pharaoh about me so I can be free too?" The butler promised he would ask Pharaoh to release Joseph as well. For the baker, the news was not so good. "I'm afraid your dream means that in 3 days' time, Pharaoh will also release you, but you won't get your job back, ever." The baker went pale, and both Joseph and butler tried to comfort him. "Maybe Pharaoh will change his mind," said the butler, but Joseph wasn't so sure. True enough, 3 days later, what Joseph said came true. The butler was released and got his old job back. He was very happy. Then the baker was released and, well, as predicted, he didn't get his old job back. But less we say about that, the better. Joseph was very sad to hear about the poor old baker. However, he was delighted to hear about the butler. Joseph waited for the butler to do what he said he would do. Joseph waited a long time. As days turned into months, he realized that the butler had forgotten about him. All Joseph could do was pray. "Dear God, I thought those servants would be able to get me out of here. But I was wrong. Please, don't you forget about me too." Then one by one his cows appeared and he felt a warm glow inside his heart. He knew that God had heard his prayer and one day he would be free. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned as more stories are coming soon.